Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel today. I've got a couple of news stories for you about CMV, which is Cruise Maritime Voyages, and Carnival. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, giving my videos thumbs ups, joining my Facebook group page. Thank you for your comments as well, and all of you out there who are joining me as sponsor members, thank you for joining this channel. 33 cents a day, you become a member of the TWB sponsor member family. Monday night, 7 o'clock, we have a live show just for you, 7 o'clock Eastern time, every Monday night, just for sponsor members. And then we do the big show at 8 o'clock. Thank you again. Here is some news for you today about Cruise Maritime Voyages and Carnival. The news right now regarding CMV, of course, is 7 weeks ago, the cruise line declared basically bankruptcy. That's what we call it here in North America. In the UK, they went into what's called administration, which means really receivers take over all the operations and they try to wind down the business. The big game plan, of course, is to try to sell the business to somebody else if at all possible. If the entire business can be just, turned over to another group with cash, all is well. Well, obviously the former owners did everything they could to try to save this company, and they were turned down at the last minute by their own bankers, and they had to shut it down with the virus, causing all cruise ships not to cruise. Now, there are 5 ships in this line that now have to be dealt with, and the story now is that they are going to be sold off by the receiver one at a time. The receiver tried to package them and put them in one package, no takers, and so the ships will have to be sold one at a time. The story is that they're going to go through a sealed bid auction, and the first ship to go will be known as the Vasco da Gama, and that will be, the envelopes will be open to see who wins the bid on that ship on October the 8th. The next ship will be the Columbus, that'll be October the 12th. Then the Astor will go on October the 15th. Then the Magellan, which used to be the Carnival holiday way back, that one is going on October the 19th. And the Marco Polo will be sold officially, the bids accepted, October 22nd. Now, a couple of things to kind of fill you in on the a little behind the scenes news here. Carnival had been attempting to sell ships to the CMV people over the last number of years, and they were successful in turning ships over to them. 3 particular vessels in this group will be the Vasco da Gama, the Columbus, and the Magellan. All those 3 ships were Carnival vessels, and there is talk that there might be a bid made by Carnival for those 3 ships, and they might turn around and basically let's say resell them, repackage them back to a new group of owners, because the story goes that while the receivers have been trying to offload the line, some of the photos you see here are of the interior shots on some of these ships. There's been some movement going on. The former head of CMV, a guy named Christian Verhonig, I think is how we pronounce that name. He has already made a deal with the receivers, and I think he was the only interested party, to buy up most of the company. What he wanted and what he has put a bid in for would be to acquire all of the computer systems, the website, the entire database, the entire booking system, and all the intellectual property of Cruise Maritime Voyages. And the plan from where I sit out here looking in, I think what's going on is he is putting together some investors on his own, has put together a new corporation, and the plan will likely be to relaunch a version of this cruise line. And if he's already talking to a Carnival and trying to make a deal where he's basically going to say, look, guys, why don't you just reacquire these 3 ships? These are the 3 we'd want. We'll put them back into service. I've got the booking system, the reservation system, all the intellectual property, the website. We'll rename ourselves, whatever, the new CMV or whatever they want to call it, and we'll get back into business. And so this ship right here, the Magellan, could well be, with a slight change of logos, brought back into service under a new version of CMV with Christian Verhonik and others, in charge of the company, and away we go. This particular ship, the Magellan, which was originally known as the Carnival Holiday, that ship was built in 1985 when Carnival was only 10 years old. And at the time, Carnival had 4 ships. This was their 5th ship in the fleet, 1,452 passengers. But as you'll notice with a lot of these photos of these ships that they've had, here's the Columbus, another ship that might be saved. Not much in the way of balconies. They are, there's a big question here. As loyal as the followers have been for this cruise line, and remember, folks, it's not like these guys couldn't sell out their ships. That's not why they went under. They were sailing to, pretty high capacity numbers right up until the day they stopped. When they stopped sailing, they were forced to stop sailing. They didn't want to stop sailing. They were made to stop sailing because of the virus. And so there's actually a pretty loyal group of customers out there that would dearly love to come back to these ships and continue on with their memories and future voyages. Some of these ships, as I say, they were built in the 80s and the 90s. There's a lot of history here. A lot of folks who take cruises on these ships are multiple repeat offenders. These folks have come back year after year after year to sail again and again and again, because they have such wonderful memories of having been on these ships, the crews that have been manned on these ships. And something tells me that the possibility of the line being resurrected with a whole bunch of the former crew members being brought back wouldn't really surprise me, because, well, frankly, to acquire these ships will not take a lot of money. There's virtually no buyers for these ships, because after all, for every day they just sit, at the dock, there's a fee to park there, to dock there. There's a fee to keep them insured and keep them maintained. This is what did in the original cruise line. They could not handle the downtime. And they were having trouble, of course, repatriating their crews. They probably had thousands and thousands of their crew members on the 5 ships. Couldn't get them home because all the flights were canceled. And so they had to feed them every day and house them. And, this just ran the cash right out the door. Well, if they can raise some additional cash and get these ships up and running again, maybe with 3 instead of 5, or 3 ships now and perhaps a couple of additional Carnival ships that are going to be disposed of, they might get converted and put over to this new line. This line may have 5 or 6 or 7 ships in the next year or two if things get back to a little more of a normal scenario. We'll follow it and we'll see what happens. I know a lot of folks in the UK and in Europe love this cruise line, and they'd like to see it back in business. Now, over at Carnival, news on Carnival has to do with this ship right here, the Carnival Magic. Now, the Carnival Magic handles a total of 5,000 people when they sell out the ship. They have almost 3,000 passengers, a little over 1,000 crew. So you have 4,000 passengers, 1,000 crew, 5,000 people on board. The cruise line, Carnival, has signed a contract to get the basically what's known as the wastewater purification system replaced. And this is one of those things that a lot of us just don't think about, those of us who love to go cruising. The Carnival Cruise Line has to spend on this ship $20 million to replace the water purification system, because after a decade or two, these ships are starting to show their age. You've got to maintain them. And with the new environmental rules that are constantly being upgraded, even though the environmentalists keep claiming that cruise ships are bad for the world, these cruise lines, to stay in the water and to continue to visit the ports they want to visit, they have to be modernized. and kept up with the latest technologies like scrubber systems for their emissions and water treatment. And so Carnival, as cash strapped as they are, they've signed a contract for $20 million to pour into this ship for the first quarter of, I think it's 2021 is when this is going to be done. To give you an idea that, to hang on to a ship, whether it's being serviced with customers or not, having people on board or not, it doesn't matter. The meter just keeps on running, and you multiply $20 million over 90 ships that Carnival operates over, say, the next 10 years. There's $2 billion if I got my math right. Am I right? 20 million, 200 million? Yeah, $2 billion just for water purification systems for the entire fleet, and then multiply that out with Royal Caribbean and Norwegian and everybody else. Billions and billions of dollars have to be reinvested in these ships to keep them up and running. And so good to hear this news, because it sounds to me like the magic will be back in the water, because they're sinking that kind of money into the ship. They're going to put this ship back to work. Anyway, there you have it. A couple of news stories for you today with Traveling with Bruce. Thanks again for supporting this channel with your subscriptions, thumbs ups. Love your comments. Join me on my Facebook group page. We'll keep you posted, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.